everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, I'm going to be profiling for you my Marauding Captain deck. Now, this is a deck that a lot of people are going to be scratching their heads about if you've never seen this deck profile before. This is a casual, fun deck. This is not a competitive deck by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a very fun deck to play and can do very well. It's a very well-built deck, I find, at the end of the day. So, this is a deck that I profile about once every year, and it's a fun deck of mine. It's based on, I guess you could say, some of my favorite cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And my favorite warrior monster of all time, that being Marauding Captain here. I have my original Legend of Darkness first edition one right here, and then I got two of my other ones from back in the day, but these are all hollow from back in the day when I used to play Warrior Swarm. So let me give you a little bit of history and background on this deck on how it came to be, because it's a really cool story, and then I'll get quickly into the deck profile. So quickly, this deck came off one of my favorite warrior monsters of all time. I built this deck around, Marauding Captain. Originally back, I think it was late 2004, early 2005, or maybe it was late 2005, I forget. My mind deceives me. But I was playing pretty much at that time. I was playing Horus the Black Flame Dragon, a couple of other decks here and there, and I was mainly playing a deck, which is a famous kind of old school deck named Warrior Toolbox. This was a deck that used Marauding Captain, Rhoda, Warrior Returning Alive, BLS, Exiled Force, Donzaluk, DD Warrior Lady, which was at 1 at the time, and a whole bunch of these other cards out there. Because you could easily search it out, swarm the field with Marauding Captain, have Marauding Captain protect the other monster, do a whole bunch of different other plays, and it would kind of be like a Warrior Swarm beatdown type of deck. It was a very fun deck to play for many ages, and that's where I originally fell in love with Marauding Captain. Over the years, I fell in love with the lore of Marauding Captain and decided to build this deck. So what happened was, I guess you could say originally, was I think it was around 2011, 2012 maybe, I think it was, I decided to build a deck based around Marauding Captain because Exceeds had just come out into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I wanted to learn more about the mechanic. Granted, I had been back in the game for about 2 years already, you know, after I think it was Gravekeepers, Starstrike Blast, somewhere around there. But I had already come back into the game after I'd been out of the game for about a year. But I decided to build a deck so I could understand that pretty much was just a solidly built deck that used rank 3, rank 4 Exceeds, and can do level 6, 7s, and 8 synchro plays. So that is what this deck is based around. It's an Exceed and synchro type of deck, which is very fun to play. So enough about that, me talking. I apologize for taking up the time, but let's get into the deck profile and the guts of this deck. But that's my history on this deck and how it came to be all those years ago. So first off, we have our 3 Marauding Captain. You still can do the Marauding Captain lock in this deck. It's not as powerful as it once was. So pretty much the Marauding Captain lock is when you go normal summon one Marauding Captain and then you special summon the other, and your opponent can't attack either or of them. It's not as good of a lock as it used to be back in the day, but it is still a good soft lock in the deck, which can help you bide your turn with 2, depending upon if your opponent's got an out to it. The problem is, nowadays, there's so many cards that blow things up on the field or destroy things on the field. It's so easy to get around that soft lock now. So that's why I call it a soft lock, but it's a play that you can do in the deck. Next, I run 2 Goblin Burg. Now, you're going to notice here for the next couple of cards that these are Marauding Captain-esque cards. So Marauding Captain can help you go into rank 3 and rank 3 Exceed plays, level 6 and 7 synchro plays. Goblin Burg can help you go for rank 4 plays and level 8 and 7 synchro plays. So that's the main thing we got Goblin Burg in here for. He's a searchable target. Back when Rhoda was at 3, not too long ago, this deck was very more consistent because you had 3 Rhoda. You could easily search out all your warrior pieces in the deck. Granted, this deck is not all warrior based, but there's a good chunk of warriors. There's about, like, I think 13 or 14 warriors and a couple of spellcasters and other stuff sprinkled in here and there for my preference. Good standalone monsters, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Next, we have 2 Trident Warrior. Trident Warrior is a light attribute because you do run BLS in this deck. Go figure. But he also helps with your rank 4 plays, your level 8 and 7 synchro plays as well. Plus, he's a beat stick for the deck as an 18 beat stick, so that does come in handy. So 2 Trident Warrior. Next, we have 2 Cosmo Wicked Witch, or as we all know and love her currently, Wicked Biatch. But this card's really amazing in the deck. And a lot of people, when I play this first turn, they're like, you're playing Cosmos? And I've had some competitive players be like, oh my gosh, he's playing Cosmos. My mindset has to be differently. And then they see what I'm doing with the deck and with the plays I'm making. They're like, that's not Cosmos. What is this weird hybrid of a deck? Now, the reason why we play Cosmo Wicked Witch is that it is a dark target for the deck. Number 2, it is a 19 beat stick for the deck. It can help you go for rank 4 plays and whatnot because of that last line of text that Cosmo Wicked Witch has, which states, this card cannot be destroyed by card effect, battle, or by card effects if you pay 1,000 life points, or something of that nature. So I can pay 1,000 life points and still keep field presence on the field. Then my next turn, I can normal summon a tuner or a synchro, or another level 4 monster and go for a play there. It's a really good card and a consistent beat stick, because the problem the deck was having was maintaining board presence, and this card really helps with that. Who cares about the life points when I can just use this thing next turn for plays? So yeah, I definitely like that card in the deck. It really comes in handy. Next, we run a couple of standalone good one-of monsters, which I know people are going to question me about, but some of these cards I just really enjoy playing because, well, I like them, and they come in handy, and they have purposes in the deck too. So first off, Breaker the Magical Warrior. I consider this card the best standalone monster that was really ever made in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or for a long period of Yu-Gi-Oh's history was one of the best standalone monsters, considering the fact that this thing was at 1 forever. Quackimera Berserker. I'll talk about all these in a second. Pavu, Fire Fencing Ferret. Yes, a Korra reference there. Injection Fairy Lily. And finally, I'll scoot this over, Marshmallow. So, why do we run all these cards here? I'll go down the line here. Marshmallow gives you it's a light attribute, okay? Because we do run BLS. It's also a stalling card. Believe me, it actually has won me games. My opponent's trying to attack me. They had 1,000 life. Flip this up. They died. Believe me, it happens more than I would like to admit. But it's a good stall card in the deck if you're trying to gain some more hand advantage, bide some time. If your plays are going south, it can come in handy. It's also a rank 3, so you can go for rank 3 exceed plays if you really need to with the deck, or go for synchro plays with it, which is perfectly viable in the deck. Injection Fairy Lily, my secret one from Legend of Darkness. I finally picked another one up after all these years from a friend of mine recently, but I really love this secret version of her. Looks amazing. And I'm so happy I get to play her in a deck, really. So, what does Injection Fairy Lily really do in this deck? Number 1, it's a level 3. You may not think off the top of your head, oh, a level 3, what's that do? You gotta think here in the deck. That combos well with Marauding Captain like I used to use back in the day. It's an old play, but you go Marauding Captain, Injection Fairy Lily. What you can do in this deck is you can go Marauding Captain, Injection Fairy Lily, run over something, maybe then make a rank 3 exceed monster. Or, what you could do with Marauding Captain is just go Marauding Captain, Injection Fairy Lily, and go for a rank 3 exceed right there. Also, paying the 2,000 life points, this bad girl can get over anything or crash into big monsters, get over big monsters just like that. That can't be targeted, destroyed, whatever. Believe me, it does come in handy more than I like to admit, again. Fire Fencing Ferret, it's a good standalone monster I do like. It is kind of like a man-eater bug type of card, and it does inflict some damage when it destroys a monster. It just comes in handy, and I really like the card overall in general. And I do call it Pavu, the Fire Fencing Ferret, from Legend of Korra, if you know the reference. So yes. Then I run Quackimera Berserker, or Blitzkrieg, or whatever I call him. He's a warrior, rank 4. He's a Quackimera as well. So like any other Quackimeras out there, you have to reveal a card so he doesn't die during the end phase. Like I stated earlier, we run, I think, like 13 or 14 warriors in this deck. So it's easy to reveal one so he doesn't destroy himself. So why do I run him in the deck? He's a rank 4. He's a level 4, so he can go for rank 4 plays with Goblin Burg and other things like that. He's a good standalone 2,000 beat stick as well. But also his effect is not too shabby, depending upon the decks I'm facing at the time. So pretty much what you can do is you can go Quackimera Berserker, run over a monster, okay? If he destroys it by battle, he can attack again directly, attack again. So he can clear boards out, which is really nice, and he can attack directly. So I've run over monsters, then attack again directly for 2,000. It comes in handy. Breaker the Magical Warrior, it's another MST for the deck. And as well as the fact of the matter that Breaker is just a good standalone 19 beat stick that can pop back row, and you can help you go for rank 4 plays as well. So good standalone monsters there that help you go for rank 3 and rank 4s, and on their own are good standalone monsters as well. For your tuners of the deck, I run 2 Delta Flyer and 1 Red Rose Warrior of Revenge. I run the Red Rose Warrior of Revenge mainly for the fact of the matter is it is a warrior, which comes in handy, and it is searchable by Rhoda. Granted, now that Rhoda's at 1, it's not as searchable, but you can use it multiple times for multiple situations. It can help you go for rank 7 exceeds. I've even used it for rank 4 exceed plays if I didn't want to go for a synchro play that turn because it wasn't optimal. So there's multiple things you can use it for. Level 7 synchro plays, level 8 synchro plays, rank 4 exceeds if you want to go down that route. Mainly use it for synchro plays, but she does come in handy, and she is a searchable option. So say you got a Marauding Captain, a Goblin Burg in your hand, you can go like, okay, search out the Rose Warrior Revenge, go for a play right there with the Rhoda. So it does come in handy. Plus you can use Warrior Returning Alive, returning it back to your hand, so you can go for another synchro play. Delta Flyer is just a good level manipulation card. It really can come in handy. So with Delta Flyer, some plays I can do is go Marauding Captain, Delta Flyer, go for a level 6 synchro play there, or I can use Delta Flyer's effect, targeting the Marauding Captain, making him a level 4, and go for a level 7 synchro play. Delta Flyer also comes in handy with Goblin Burg, as well as Trident Warrior, because I can go Trident Warrior, use Trident Warrior's effect to special summon a level 3 or lower monster from my hand. Delta Flyer is a level 3. Delta Flyer comes out. Delta Flyer's effect activate. Target Trident Warrior. He's a level 5. That's a level 8 synchro play there. Or I can just go for a level 7 synchro play. Also, you have Goblin Burg as well. You can go Goblin Burg, Delta Flyer, go for a level 7 synchro play, or level 8 by using Delta Flyer's effect. Again, you see the combo plays that I'm mentioning here in this deck. So yes, 2 Delta Flyer comes in handy. He's just 15 beat stick, so he can put in work if... And both of those can, actually. Both of those tuners actually have put in work before for me sometimes if they're standalone. Next, I run 3 Shining Knight. Okay, first off, it's a warrior, and you've probably never heard of this card ever. But I found an optimal use for this obscure card for some dumb reason. Because this deck revolves, like I said, around level 3 exceed plays and level 4 exceed plays. So you have to keep in mind this deck is a synchro exceed oriented deck. So things do happen. So why do we run Shining Knight? It's a light attribute which comes in handy with BLS. Number 2, it's a warrior. It's searchable. You can return it back to your hand with Warrior Returning Alive, which is one of the reasons why I like the Warrior engine a little bit. And this card can be multi-versatile and help you go for level 4 exceed plays and level 3 exceed plays. You may ask yourself, how is that? It's because of his effect. So Shining Knight states that when he is face up on the field in defense position, he becomes a level 4. So with Marauding Captain, I can go Marauding Captain, Shining Knight in attack position, level 3 exceed play. Goblin Burg and Trident Warrior, same thing. I pretty much can go normal summon, special summon in defense position. Now he is a rank 4 because he's in face-up defense position, rank 4 exceed play right there. Same thing with Trident Warrior. You go normal, special, in defense position, rank 4 play right there. So that's why we run 3 Shining Knight. Helps you go for rank 3 and 4 exceed plays, plus it's a light attribute. Plus he has a 19 booty, which can come in handy. Next I run for your one-ofs, your last 2 monsters, the 1 BLS, which I kept talking about, and the 1 Marauding Captain, because this is a Marauding Captain deck, and this card came out last year. I have to play Marauding Captain. Granted, I have got his effect off about 3 times, and every time it's actually worked. His effect is pretty much, you can shuffle 1 card from your hand into your deck, draw a card. If it's a monster, you can special summon it. It's a monster heavy deck, so it actually works out for the most part, which is kind of funny. But he also goes for rank 3 exceed plays as well. So yeah, and BLS because he's BLS, and we have a lot of light and dark trap, attributes in the deck. Onto the spell lineup, we have 2 Warrior Returning Alive. Like I said, this is mainly a warrior based deck, and this can help return alive your combo pieces to your hand to go for more plays. So pretty much each turn you can try to pump out exceeds or synchro plays, and this can help you retain advantage. Next, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. You could run Twin Twister, but this deck needs to maintain its hand advantage. It doesn't get anything from sending cards to the graveyard, except if you're trying to set up for a BLS play. So I prefer MST over Twin Twister. because it's not optimal. Next, I run 2 power duality. Yes, this deck does special summon a lot, but sometimes you do get brick hands or you have plays on the board, so you can thin through your deck, look for more combo pieces. 2 power duality. I do like it for consistency in the deck. 1 instant fusion. As of right now, Norden is not banned, nor is instant fusion limited in any way, so 1 instant fusion helps you go for rank 4, synchro plays, whatever. 1 reinforcement of the army. If it was at more than 1, I'd run it. 1 Book of Moon. It's a good versatile card. And 1 Regeki because it can clear the board. Also, as I scoot this over, we run 1 Soul Charge in the deck because Soul Charge can help, make very combo-oriented plays in this deck because it does, send a lot of its resources to the graveyard so you can reborn it. Yes, you can't attack that turn, but you can make combo plays for paying a couple of life points. So, granted, you'll pay a lot of life points in this deck, but you don't mind, I find, at the end of the day. Next, I run 2 Solemn Strike, the Solemn Brigade for me. So 1 Solemn Warning and 2 Solemn Strike in the deck. It gives you some... I know this is not a meta deck, but hey, I have these cards available to me. Might as well run them. So 2 Solemn Strike and a Warning for trap lineup. Then for other traps I run 1 Torrential Tribune. This deck is very slow. If your opponent tries to spam the field, you can blow them up. Vanity's Emptiness comes in handy. Trap Tricks... Whole Nightmare. I actually like running this card in this deck because I do run Trap Tricks with Flasia, so it does come in handy. And 1 Bottomless Trap Hole to run off the trap engine. So you got a good mix of trap spells and whatnot in the deck. Onto the extra deck. Pretty much like I said, it's going to be rank 4s, 3s. Synchro plays would be 6, 7s, and 8s. So do keep that in mind. For your rank 4s, I run the 1 Trap Tricks with Flasia. Krogamic Illuminescent Knight comes in handy. Castell, the Sky Musketeer. Number 101, and Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, which is this ghost rare over here I have. So Dark Rebellion, Krogamic Luminescent Knight, Trap Tricks with Flasia, Castell, number 101. Then I run the 1 Nodin in the deck because that can help go for different plays. For your rank 3s, we run 3 of them. Ghost Trick Alucard, the Phantom Knight, the Breaker of Swords, because he's like a mini Scrap Dragon, and Super Quantum Mecha Beast Grand Pulse, because he's got a big booty and you can go for him. That's for your rank 3s there. For your 6s, we run 1 Red Wyvern. You can run Goyo if you want to. For your 7s, I run Black Rose Moonlight Dragon and Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. They come in handy. So Clear Wing and all that. Let me scoot these over. Then for your 8s, I run Starter Spark Dragon. Yazi comes in handy because he's non-targeting. And finally, the big boy himself, Scarlight, the Dragon Archfiend. The one that came out of... is that right? Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. So those are the level 8s we run right there. So we run... let me go over those again. Scarlight... oh gosh, that's Clear Wing, Scarlight, Moonlight, Yazi, the Evil of the Yang Zing, because he's non-targeting and he can get over things. Spark Dragon. You can run any card if you want to, like Crimson Blader or whatever. If you have Omega, run it. I don't own Omega, but this really comes in handy. And then the Red Wyvern. But guys, that is the deck profile for you today. I hope you guys all enjoy this deck. This deck is really fun to make. This deck is very fun to play as well, I have to admit that, because it's not a main meta deck, and it's just a creative deck that I made up because I wanted to base a deck around a new mechanic, back in the day, Exceeds, because at that time, Exceeds were not as powerful as Synchro, so I wanted to still use the Synchro engine, and I pretty much took the best of both eras and made this little fun deck, and it's not competitive, but it's a fun Marauding Captain deck, and it's a really good deck that is very fun to play with. It catches people off guard, and it's not a competitive deck like I said earlier, but it is a fun deck. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and go Marauding Captain and Warrior Monsters in general. But this is a fun deck, and I highly suggest you guys play it. I've played this deck a lot on stream as well, guys, but take care, everybody.